Next on the agenda is personal property tax rate. Any questions?
What the cents per hundred that you're proposing?
I think we've already adopted both of them. Is this
We
the one that
adopted both of them.
Is this the one we have to reduce?
Yes, it is. This is,
Okay, let's is there a motion on that?
But last time we had one motion that was made that stated that we're adopting the compensating rates that collect the same amount of, approximately the same amount of revenue as prior year tax rates.
Correct.
And the rates, one of them exceeded the maximum limits. So that, in my mind, throws out the whole thing, and we need to take a look at sort of restructuring the amount that we're going to levy, because we did take a significant decrease in the personal property assessment. It's my understanding that's part of the U.S. code moving out of the county.
So do you want to make a motion on the personal property tax rate?
I would move that I'd like to do them both together.
It's not that way on the agenda.
That's the way you guys end up.
Special meetings. Do you have a motion on that? Not out here, I'll make a motion that we reduce it to that 50, that,
the current rate is 55.9.
to reduce to
71.31.
That's an increase.
71.31. And we did have it set at,
87.
okay, make the motion to reduce it from 87 to 71. But the decimal points are the mathematician.
Well, that's the maximum rate.
Is there a second? Reduce it. Okay, next item on the agenda.
I would like to make a motion that we adopt the personal property rate at 65.8 cents per hundred. That is an increase, but not quite as much as what we've done before, what you've done, and we can do on the real estate, keep it exactly the same. 78% of our property is real estate. I don't see us taking another, if we levy this 43.6, that's the calculated compensating rate, which is a combination of both real and personal property. We're going to pull another $200,000 out of the pockets of the real estate owners in this county. The personal property and the tangibles and those things, those are a lot of your PSCs, and I believe that we'd be better served having a 9.8 cent increase on them than leaving real estate alone. And it generates the same amount of money.
So, in the,
I can show you.
can I ask you a question? So, what are you proposing on, are you saying on the personal to leave it at its current rate?
No, I'm saying to levy personal at 65.8, which is less than the maximum rate of 71.
Okay.
And the real estate at 37.2, which is what it was last year.
Which is what it is.
Mhm.
Okay.
No, those
Okay.
are two different motions. You have to,
Well, I'll make a motion, we
we can't
levy.
do it. The chair doesn't recognize that motion. The motion has to be concerning one item only.
On the personal property tax.
One item only. Do you want to address the one item or address that one item?
That's the word I'm working
On the personal.
Okay.
That's what he's
You
addressing.
can only address that. You put.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we adopt the personal property tax at 65.8 cents per month.
And how much will that,
That would generate $490,842.
at what percent collection?
But you base this on 100%, there's no basing it on, you have to, that's the way the rates are calculated. Is that not right?
That's right. That's,
So, but what you're saying is you believe we'll get
No, I know you don't, but you don't base tax rates on it. You base it based on what the law says.
everybody's budgets on it.
You don't budget on that. I don't
Budget on what?
You budget on what you think you're going to actually collect, because there's fallacies in the law.
So I understand your motion. You're making a motion. How much do you think that will take out?
Take out of what?
How much you think we'll have less with that?
On the
motion
personal
versus-
property, it's hard to say because those come and go, and you're liable to get them all one year, and you're liable to get half of them. And then the next year, you'll get them all because they filed appeals and everything else. It's just a process.
So will that reduce things like my office equipment business.
That will reduce it down from the 71, yes. The rate that you proposed, this is a decrease, yes it is.
So we're not talking about like
Homes. We're not talking about homes, we're not talking about boats, we're not talking about all those things. People tend to think that personal property is your boats. Those stay with the clerk at her office.
So we're talking about things like Dr. Harden's equipment, common medical conveyors equipment.
Exactly.
The nursing homes equipment.
Exactly.
People-
And we're talking about the light pole lines and all those things with the public utilities, which is 60% of this anyway.
So how does reducing the utilities help the county?
It's not, reducing it from 71 to 65, the reason that we can do this is that the assessments on real property did increase. So the bulk of if you had no changes in your assessment on your real estate, then you will pay exactly the same. Now, if the PVA increased your assessment or you've got new property, then you're going to pay.
Or you go in and raise it like you did yours. I want to compliment you, by the way. The only man I know that went and raised his taxes from 35,000 assessment to 85,000. You ought to get a standing hand. You think you're prepared to
I've been in contact with the PVA for that for years.
Sound like you getting ready to run for county judge or something. Good preparation.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So later, we're gonna talk about reducing the property taxes.
No, we'll keep it the same.
So that, since you raised your assessment, you won't have to pay the extra much. Pretty good move, you're good at numbers.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Now, what you're saying is that we're gonna vote tonight to reduce the amount of money the county's going to get to work with different things. Yeah, now hold, if we collect 100% at 71, we get more money than if we collect 100% at 65. We get more money if we collect 1%
Right,
at
you're wanting to
71.
pull more money out of the people of this county.
You just said there were electric poles.
But I said
They don't
60% of that. I didn't say votes, I said pull more money.
But you will admit that the majority of that is not gonna make any difference to the average citizen. Just, it's gonna make.
Most of it comes from foothills, telephone,
Right.
REC, what have you, the tangible property.
Right, that's what I'm saying, and Dr. Harden and people like that.
But it's very little.
But it's very little. So mainly what we're saying is we want to vote to reduce. And so we're not going to have as much money to give organizations that might need it. Is that what you're
No,
saying?
if we levy 37.2 and keep the other one the same, both those rates generate the same amount of money. Is that not true? Is
The
that
same
not
amount
true?
of money?
It generates in total the same amount of money based on those rates.
So,
You can run them if you want to run
okay,
them.
so I get that. But what you're saying though, what I'm trying to say is
That-
I'd rather stay with the 71 for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't think we're going to get the percentage that we did in the past. I don't think there's the equipment in here that they've had in the past. I don't believe we have the cold equipment to ask for taxes. I don't think we have as much equipment. Continental Conveyor doesn't have as much equipment in here. Nobody does. So I really don't think that we're going to get as high a percentage of collection as have in the past. So I'd like to prepare for that. But assume we did, then I'll commit right now that we will use that money for the first responders. If it comes in more than we got last year, I'll commit, if you'll vote for that, we'll equal it out in two pots, half to the rescue squad and half to the fire departments. And I'll make that's, if you'll do that, we can do it that way. If we collect more in that, whatever that's called, because I'm not too good at these
The
numbers.
personal property.
If we collect more money in personal property tax this year by keeping it at 71 and going to 65 than we did last year, that excess money would be divided half between the rescue squad and the volunteer fire departments. The volunteer and fire departments getting 10% and the rescue squad getting 50%, they could use it. How about amending your motion to that?
Only if you'll commit to keeping the real estate property rates the same and not hitting everybody in this county with the tax increase.
We'll talk about that when we get to it.
Then I won't
Yeah, I'll talk about that. So so what you're saying is you're not willing to do that. So if we don't change it, we have to default back to 71. And so if me and Rooster vote against this, we can make the same commitment anyway, unless you vote against it. Which I really don't think you will. It's all
I've made my motion.
Okay. Roll call vote.
Judge Harden,
No.
Gary Reisner,
No.
Cornell Master,
Yes.
Matthew White.
Yes.
So since it doesn't pass, I now make a motion that we keep it, lower from 87 to 71 with the decimals. And if we
That's
collect
fine.
more money than we collected last year in this particular tax bracket, that we will take that money, divide one half of it to the rescue squad and one half to the fire department's people. Is there a second? Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion?
I think there's more nonprofit organizations than Rescue Squad and Fire Department. I don't think
They
you
use
should
the
commit,
word first responders.
well, first responders. I don't think you should commit money to just a certain,
Vote against the motion.
I'll do that.
What?
I'll do that just a minute.
Make it tougher time. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Judge Harden,
Aye.
Gary Reisner,
Aye.
Cornell Master,
No.
Matthew White.
No.
So it stays the same. It stays at 71 because that's all we can do.
You know, the 71 was from where I figured the wrong way.
So basically,
it
it was
just
over
had to be
71.1
corrected.
and now we've committed to, okay. Just try to find out what a man's motives are of his money. Next is real property tax rate. Is there a motion concerning the real property tax rate?
Motion to keep it the same as it was last year, 37.2.
I'll second.
I would make the motion that we take that we keep it the same as last year with the following amendment. That if this does not generate enough money, that we already prioritize the reductions in services because we have extra things to pay for. We may not have the money, and so that we don't have to in the future decide where they come from. I would like to amend your motion, and I will pledge to vote for your motion if the following priority of reduction if we come up short in money is utilized. 1, Civil War. 2, December Parade. 3, any future contributions to the Founders Day. 4, City County Park. 5, Senior Citizens. 6, Fire Departments and Insurance. 7, Rescue Squad and Insurance. 8, Sheriff's Department deputies. 9, any bridge match for future bridge. And 10, any state and federal contracts that require a match in the future. So it's second to my amendment. I have an amendment to your motion. Glad y'all vote for your motion if you'll go along with my amendment.
And what your amendment saying that if we don't collect our
We
property
don't have
taxes,
enough in the future, if we come up short, that we've already got a plan. See, I apologize to the citizens of Magoffin County for my contribution in hiring my administrative assistant. I don't have any problem having done it. I think it was legal. And so I think I have a right to do it. And he has proved valuable in doing it. I said at the time, and I'll say again, when you pay your time, you've got a right. I know I'm not very interesting to you, but you please listen. You have a right, once you serve your time, to come back into the community. If Mr. Sayer doesn't have a right, there's a whole lot of other families that have family members that don't have a right to do that. But I didn't call the Lexington Hurl leader
I didn't even.
until Bill Eastep is a liar, because Bill Eastep, who wrote the article, told me that the two magistrates that called him were Matthew Warman, wanting to give a quote,
Nope.
and Buck Master.
He called me.
He said you called him.
Yeah.
Did you call him, Buck, or did he call you first?
No, I did not.
He called me. I didn't know. I didn't
I
know
would
how
be
he got
glad
my
to
number.
call Mr. Eastep,
Call him.
that you all said he did call. He didn't call him.
I didn't call him. I was up there.
But for the record, I, having done something you didn't agree with, your animosity toward me shouldn't have been so severe that you would have drove the county's name through the mud.
I didn't do that. I didn't make the calls. He got somebody from whoever just
And
leaving
when,
the
and when he
call.
called to make comments like that, to make a very nice article that made the county look even worse than I'd already done, shows that you got more animosity toward me than you do the county. You have more animosity toward me than you have love of your county. I certainly hope you never occupy this chair. You don't deserve to. Now, you got my motion. My motion says is I don't want to go through that again. I don't want the newspaper up here if we come up short, because we're not going to have the money that we had before. We're not going to bring it in, and we don't have it. I don't want to have to sit in here and argue about it. It's time to show this is leadership. It's saying this is what we're going to do. Everybody knows where to be prepared. It says if money doesn't come in like at 100%, which it won't, because there's not as much money in
Never
Magoffin
does
County
come in
now.
100%.
There's not as much. Does anybody in Magoffin County think there's as much money in Magoffin County as there used to be? Anybody think we're going to get a higher percentage than we did last year?
So we're gonna raise the rate to 43.6 and pull another $207,000 out.
Well, like I said, you've already raised your. I give you credit about that $85,000.
Yeah, you did, sure did.
You made sure that you turned it in late enough. You don't have to
Oh,
pay
no,
taxes
it's
this
been
year.
turned in a long time. You talk to your PVA and tell him to do his damn job.
Well, you ain't satisfied with nobody.
No, that's right.
Nobody does their job. They do.
That's right.
What you're basically asking them, Doc, is.
Well, I'm basically asking for me to pay $600 more than I paid last year. And I'll count to the city, by the way. I wish you all would de-annex me. I wish you'd de-annex me, because I pay you about as much as the county. But no, I'm asking to pay $600 more, so that we'll have a cushion to be able to help people when it comes up. That we'll have a cushion to match state and federal grants. That we'll have a cushion to help the sheriff if he needs it. That we'll have a cushion to help the rescue squad, the fire departments, the senior citizens, the park, and everybody else. Because the grants aren't 100% anymore. There's some 60-40. When they offered me one 25-75, I kind of turned that one down. But 80%, every time we spend these bridges, we replaced 27 bridges. We have 27 bridges that are concrete now that were wood when I came in. Wood. Replaced them every couple of years. And that's when we were able to get around to replacing them. And very few people, despite what everybody thinks, called in the first time the bridge needed replaced. Most of them end up driving over a dangerous bridge before you get to it. So now we have 27 bridges that I nor any other judge in our lifetime will ever have to worry about. We had to come up with $20,000 to get the other $80,000. I want to be able to do those things in the county. I cannot do that. I cannot propose those. I cannot pay when the insurance on health goes up, workman comp goes up, liability goes up. I can't pay those if I don't have the money. And I just don't believe when we do this that we'll have the money. So instead of us coming in here and being lobbied by everybody ahead of time, we can do it now. We can go on record as saying, this is what we'll do. I've got no problem for it. I've got no problem to tell what your priorities are. And for that, we get unanimous. If you don't do this, then I vote against it, it stays. So if you're really that dedicated in fiscal responsibility, let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and keep me from paying $600 more. That's $50 a month. Less than $2 a day. That's for someone who works very hard and been very lucky and very blessed. Most people won't be paying a fraction of that. Maybe they'll have a blacktop road to their house. I'd like to be able to finish up the blacktop road that we need to do in this county. I remember you brought one in and asked me what we're going to do about it. I believe it's your fiscal court. Well, how are we going to do that stuff? We don't have money. We won't be able to do anything extra. We won't be able to do a lot of this.
You already got the rate of 71.1 on the personal property.
And I ain't had a telephone pole on the plane yet.
Which generates another $207,000. If we keep it the same, it generates another $40,000. That 100%.
100%.
Well, and what's the collection rate? 91.
I've had different people come to me and say they got a 5% raise and different raises this year, and their check is $6 less than it was last year. So is it right to ask the people of the tax-paying people to do without, so that you won't? Don't you think you should tighten your tighten up here? I mean, instead of you getting your cost
You
of
wanna
living
donate your
raise.
salary back every year and I'll
Instead of
match
getting,
it?
I've never had cost,
You
I've never
want,
had
you
a
want,
raise.
you wanna donate
You get a
your-
raise
but-
every
but
year.
donate
Every
your
year
salary.
you
I'll
get
tell you what,
cost of
I'll
living
agree
raise that-
on the motion that before we do that we'll go $1,000. You'll donate, and I'll donate till we donate 18,000, and we'll turn the buck. I mean, Matt, I get you too.
Let me think a minute. If I had 5 jobs, I'd do that.
Oh, now I'm getting criticized for working hard.
Well, yeah, you know,
Tell you what,
you can't
Obama
compare
must
with,
love you, son.
I can't compare money with you. You know,
I
you
didn't
sit
say
there
you
and say
could, you
stuff
couldn't
like
compare
that.
work ethic with me either.
Well,
You couldn't work hard as I do, that's another story. You don't work hard as I do. I just said I've been blessed. You're the one that said that 5% of the people contacted you. I've not had one contacted me, and
I didn't say 5%. I said they
Is this
had a
your second
5%
job?
raise.
Is this your second job?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Give the money your second job, or are you just running for the money? Offered to match you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about money. Let's talk about the different.
I offered to match you. You're the
No,
one
I'm
brought
not
it up.
matching you, and you know that.
Well, I know you ain't want to match with me because you're too stingy to.
Yeah.
You gonna take me up on the deal, Matt?
I don't deal with you.
That's right. You can't remember what the proper email address is. So, you got any more comments? Like I said, that's my motion is amended in. I call for a vote, roll call vote on the amendment. Roll call.
Oh, sorry.
And that is that what? You just read them off. And what are you gonna do there?
I said that if we come up with a shortfall, and I'm gonna do my best to tighten my belt and come up with it. I don't have to do this to any of these. Every one of these are important. Every one of them. I'm looking at the, right in the eye, look right in the eye of a man I respect and put his name, put his group first. So I don't have any trouble in saying what I have to
I
say.
have no problem disagreeing.
What I'm saying is, if we have a deficit, this is how we're going to solve it. So we don't have to come back here and have the press all lined up and Bill East up line again.
We're the poorest county, one of them in the state. We're the 5th highest paying tax rate in the state. And where's it going
Look,
to
that
come
might
from?
be because a lot of people's taxes, a lot of people's property is not assessed very high.
I'll get your BVA to do his job. No problem with that.
You just can't keep it in on tax.
I'll compliment you. Anybody come in and ask to raise it $50,000, you win the award for that one. I've never met anybody like you. It's a pleasure to sit next to you. But what I'm saying is, we probably don't have to do this. I hope we don't have to. I pray we don't have to. But if we have to, we've got a method now because I'm telling you and the treasurer's telling you we don't think we will have as much money as we had last year. We got a way to deal with it. Up front, day one. Then we don't have to have it, we don't have to worry about it. That's my amendment. My amendment is just calling for fiscal responsibility. We're saying, and I'm agreeing with you, it's difficult times in Magoffin County, and a lot of people don't have the money and going to work on trying to tighten our belts and do a better job and keep it as tight as we can. And if we can't,
What
then
percentage rate did the sheriff collect last year? It was all of it except that one went bankrupt, basically.
It would be in the 90s,
Been in the 90s.
but that's like 17 million, and you're not gonna have that assessment this year, because they moved out.
But that's reflected in the personal
That's
rate.
what
And their bill was
Three
$321,000.
was from Lincoln River.
So that'd be-
that was just from Lincoln River, right?
The biggest portion of it was from Lincoln River,
So there may, if others move out of Continental,
because your
Rail
assessment
closes
changed
down,
$20 million.
any of that, if that happens, God forbid, anything like that happens, will happen. If I moved to Louisa, which I don't know why I would, they got bypassed, and I've been fighting too hard to keep this county from being bypassed. I've been using him as an example. I sure don't want to go up there. But that's all I'm saying. We just know where we're standing if we have a problem. But you do realize that we're not going to be able to blacktop any of the roads. We've done all we can do. If we had extra money, we could probably bond out to bring this project up, do some more blacktop that people didn't get done the first time. And there are, I mean, I've been approached on a lot that would like it, I'm sure you have too. That's all it says. Any question? Roll call vote.
Josh Harden,
Aye.
Gary Reisner, Mel Lester,
No.
Matthew Ward.
Nope.
Any further discussion? You do know that having voted that down, if there is a shortfall, that you're giving the judge executive the entire power
Oh, yeah.
to reduce it to Wade and lay off whoever he chooses.
No, we haven't. We didn't pass it.
No, I said without passing that, that's what you've done.
Mhm.
You read your administrative code.
And we get legal opinions on that. Let's move on to that.
Hey, even though you bid up your assessment, you're not the judge yet. So I'll tell us when to move on, if you don't mind, Nicholas. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, that works.
Thank you, I appreciate your permission. Roll call vote, please.
Josh Harden,
No.
Gary Reisner,
No.
And what are we voting for this time?
Matt's what?
The 37.2 cents that I proposed.
Yes.
Yeah, it was his name, you're supposed to vote.
That's right.
All right, I just want to make sure.
I just wanna make sure you
If
didn't
he
try to
made
beat
it,
me
then
on
you're
there,
supposed
you
to
know.
vote. Go ahead.
Gotta watch that.
Matthew Ward.
Aye.
Motion failed. Any further motion? I'll make the motion for 37. What's that, doesn't it?
For the compensating, 43 plus.
No, the other one.
37,
Two is over the other.
That's what I- that's the
37.2,
motion I-
that's the one that is our
Any
current
other,
tax
any
rate.
other motions? Make a motion for a recess. For a second. Recess. Motion been made second to recess. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those
No.
opposed? No.
I got that second, John.
From this point further, there was basically 7 minutes of silence as everyone just remained still and quiet. We'll forego that portion of the meeting coverage, and we'll pick it up in the second half. You'll have to forward on over to the next portion on the website, and then we'll pick it up after that 7 minutes of silence with the next item of discussion.